go. Hey, Coach James here. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. And what is All About Aerodynamics, you ask? Glad you asked. Even if you didn't ask, All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to aerodynamics, drag, lift, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, elastic energy, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, and just a range of topics. But this is our second episode of Wind Tunnel Wednesday, and this is, we're trying some new things out, but ultimately what I'm going to be doing is taking Hot Wheels cars, putting them in the Windsible 1/64th scale wind tunnel, and we will take a look at the aerodynamic profiles of the cars. Why is that important? Well, because the whole premise of All About Aerodynamics is teaching students about the aerodynamic properties of cars and how cars are designed to reduce drag and to direct the airflow over, under, and around the cars. And this device is the perfect opportunity to show off and make visually real those concepts. And so we will put the cars in the wind tunnel, observe how the air flows over, under, and around those cars. And what we're trying to do is identify cars that are fastest on our track, because every Saturday we have At the Track Live, which is a program where we allow viewers to select Hot Wheels cars that they want to see race on the track. And I also introduce new cars into the fleet so that I can have new cars available for the students to choose from. And what we've noticed is that there are trends in terms of which cars are actually fastest. And which cars are, let me select this. There are trends, and so we start to see which cars are faster on the track, and we start to observe what do those cars have in common as far as the cars that are fastest on the track. And we've started to see trends in terms of fantasy cars are usually faster on the track. Not usually, but the cars that stand out in terms of their speed are usually the fantasy cars. We have had others do well, but predominantly it's the fantasy cars that are the ones that have lately just been the fastest on the track. So what happens is we'll put them inside the wind tunnel. We can observe how the air flows over, under, and around those cars, and see if we can observe any similarities between the airflow of those cars, the faster cars, and then the ones that we know are slower. So that ultimately we should be able to get to a point where putting the cars in the wind tunnel and looking at the airflow should give us an opportunity to be able to say, yeah, that car is fast. No, that car probably isn't going to be as fast. And we can put all that to the test. So Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, like I said, this is our second attempt. We're just still kind of working things out. And if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch and you're only seeing video in the center section, it's because this is also being sent to Instagram Live, and therefore only the center section is showing. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you're getting some additional information on the left and right, but all of the information that you'll need is going to be right here in the center. And if you do want to participate, you can do so if you go to atthetrack.live. You will be taken to a page that has 3 options. One is the YouTube stream link, one is the Twitch stream link, but the third option is one that says choose a car. And if you select that option, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will be able to scroll through and look at all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet. And as of right now, there are, let's see, there are about 800 different cars that are available to choose from. And if you go through and you scroll through and you see a car and you decide, yeah, I want to see that car in the wind tunnel, then all you have to do is take the number that's in front of that car. So if you think this rising heat, this blue rising heat car is going to be the car to pick, then all you have to do is take that number and drop it in the chat. I'll pull that car, and then we will throw it into the wind tunnel. And like I said, there are 800, I think, about 820 different cars to choose from. There are fantasy cars. There are cars based on real cars, cars from the 70s, cars from the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, some that are fresh into the stores as recently as a week ago. So we've got a range of cars to pick from. And if you do see a car that you like or that you think you want to see if you want to see the aerodynamic profile, if you want to see the car in the wind tunnel, you just drop the number of the car into the chat. I'll pull it. But then if you come back on Saturday at 11 a.m. on YouTube and Twitch, you can actually pick a car that you want to see race. So you've already seen the aerodynamics of the car. Then maybe that tells you, hey, I think this car is fast. Then come back on Saturday. I'll grab that car and we'll put it on the track and put it to the test. And if it is fast enough, it will become our champion for the day. And if it's really fast, it will get an opportunity to go up against our fastest in fleet car, which currently is the Gazella R, and that is going to be the first car that we take a look at in the wind tunnel. So let me switch the view over there and see if everything's set up. There we go. So that is the Gazella R. That is our current fastest in fleet car. And it is going to be first up in the wind tunnel because it is, with it being the fastest car, we figured that whatever aerodynamic profile is demonstrated and shown here should be applicable to other cars, and if they have a similar bit of airflow, then we'll be able to get an idea once they hit the track, and we'll be able to tell which cars are in that upper echelon of speed. So with this, right now the wind tunnel is set at 67. It's simulating 67 miles per hour, and you can kind of see the airflow. I've bumped it up to 94 miles per hour, and what we're seeing is the air hitting the front of the car, flowing up right over the top. And the thing about the Gazella is it does not have a traditional like driver's canopy area and windshield angle. So the air is able to just kind of flow right across. And then we do see some turbulent air here at the back, but for the most part, the air is flowing along the body of the car. And with some other cars, you'll see some separation in terms of the airflow. So I'm going to turn the speed up. So now we're at 107 miles per hour simulated. And you can see how the air kind of hits the front of the car, and then it has to follow a path somewhere, and it's going right up over the top of the car, and we still see that airflow, it's flowing right along with the body of the car, which is definitely what you want. And then it gets to the wing and the back, and kicking it up to 161 miles per hour, and you start to see a little more turbulence right at the back end of the car, but for the most part it's cutting right through the air, going up to 174. And I'll go now we're at 200 miles an hour, and you can see that airflow is still following right along. There's not a lot of turbulence until this back section, and even there it's pretty minimal. And then at the bottom we have there is a diffuser on this car, so the air is flowing up from the back, and it creates this turbulence. And this is what we get with our absolute fastest car. And this car has been the fastest on the track for since last year, and since about November. And the races it's had, it has not even really had much competition. It has not been challenged in the least. So we're always looking every week. We have viewers picking cars to try to beat the Gazella. I'm introducing cars that I have out of storage, trying to beat this. But this car is absolutely the fastest Hot Wheels car that I've come across in years. So if you want to see what it does on the track, you can check our YouTube channel, or you can just come back on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, and you will see this car on the track taking on whichever car comes out of the tournament. So if we look at that, the aerodynamic kind of profile and the way the air is flowing around the Gazella, we'll see how that matches up with some of the other cars that we throw in here. And again, if you have a car that you want to see inside the wind tunnel, all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live, select the choose a car option, and then we will put that car in the wind tunnel. And if you think that car can compete with the Gazella R, then all you will need to do is let me know on Saturday. Drop the number of the car. All the cars are labeled and numbered. Drop the name, or preferably the number of the car, in the chat, and I'll pull the car and we will race it. And it's just that simple. That's how At the Track Live works. The next car I'm going to throw in the wind tunnel is kind of interesting. It is the Flippin' Fast. And the thing with this car is it can, whether you turn it upside down or keep it, well, you can turn it upside down and it's still a race car. And the way they designed it, it doesn't matter whether it's on that side or that side. It is still a car, and if you hold it here, it also turns into a kind of fidget spinner. So there's that. We did put this car on the track at a few months ago, and it didn't do as well as I was expecting it to do. But I did kind of notice that even though the car can be placed on either side, there is a difference. So I'm going to stick it in the wind tunnel and point out what those differences are, and then we can take a look at how the car, what happens to it inside the wind tunnel, presuming I can get it to stay in place. So let's switch over to the wind tunnel view. And so here's the thing. With this car, initially, so here's the car. Let me get put a little more light on it. And so on this side, you can see that the engine is in the back. So this is the front of the car. And you can see the engine is there in the back. And it comes to a point. So this is the front. There is no wing, no spoiler, nothing like that. But if I turn the car to the other side, then you'll see that same sort of F1 racing car point in the front, but then in the back there is a wing. So here's the engine and here is the wing. And it doesn't have that on the other side. Now, why is that important? That's important because the launcher that we use to shoot the cars out there's a launching block in the back. And it presses up against the cars and fires them out. And what happens is cars that have had wings that are higher up on the car, so kind of aligned with the roof. This one not so much. That you could see it more with the Gazella that was just in the wind tunnel, but with this one, it does have a wing on this side. I think when we raced it on the side without the wing. Will that make a difference? Does that make a difference? I don't know, but we're going to take a look at it in the wind tunnel and see if there are any differences that we can observe. So here we go. Let's see. We've got, let's crank this thing up. So right now we're just looking at, it's at 53 miles an hour. And now even at 53 miles an hour, you can already begin to see, you can see the air separating from the body of the car right at the beginning. It hits the front, it comes up, and then it just separates. And you can see this separation in the turbulence, and that's it. It's now at 67 miles per hour. So as I increase the speed, I expect this separation to just increase. So you can kind of see it there, but let's push it up. So now it's at 80, and right there at 80, you can already see even more separation. So this wing in the back is not necessarily helping. It's not doing much. But if we just go up to 100, so now we're at 107, and oh, let's see, we dropped it back down. Let me get it back up. Oh, there we go. So it's at 13. Oh, 40. Okay, so now let me see. I think I may have to add some more of the fluid. But what we saw with this car is that the air separated from the body of the car. And that was not the case with the Gazella. With the Gazella, you saw that the air flowed over the car, but it stayed pretty tight to the body until it got to the back end. So that is that. Let's go ahead. So this Windsible wind tunnel, you can check the fluid, and you can make some other adjustments. So let's see how much fog fluid is remaining. And it says we have 131 minutes, so we should be good. And that's kind of been the question that I've had with this thing, the wind tunnel, is how much how much can I operate the wind tunnel before I'm going to need to replace the fog fluid. And it says that I've got about 2 hours worth of fluid remaining. We'll see if that's actually the case. So I flipped the car over, and when you flip it over, let's turn this back this way. When I flipped it over, now the front end of the car, basically this, what would be the splitter, when it's flipped over and lower to the ground, now raises up to become, I don't know, almost some kind of bumper, and it's not really having the same effect as a splitter, but there it is. And that's the thing with these fantasy cars, is that they have parts that don't necessarily correspond to anything in real life, so we just kind of accept them and see what they can do on the track. So let me see if I can get this cranked up again. And let's go. So this is from the other side, and so again, at 50 miles an hour, we're already seeing separation right here. And with the Gazella, we got up to about 200 miles an hour, and we barely saw separation, only at the back end of the car. With this one, air is flying. I mean, it's separating almost immediately. It comes right up the front, and then it's swirling and spinning. And that's just, ultimately, cars are trying to reduce the impact of drag. And this is an indication that this car is not really doing that. Air is flying. How turbulent the air is just all around the car. We didn't see this with the Gazella. The only point with the Gazella where we saw any kind of issue in terms of swirling, turbulent air was at the very back after it came off the car. But in this case, this is not what you want to see. And so now we're up to 121 miles per hour, and you can see it's not getting any better. It's just, I mean, we can see why this car wasn't performing as well, at least on this side. So I'm going to flip it over and take a look. So this is what we've got with the side that has the wing splitter in the front raised up. And I'm going to flip it over and see if we get that same kind of performance on the other side that has the wing in the back. Because that is, if there is a difference, then I think we might put this car back on the track, but with this side up, this orange side up that has the wing in the back. But that's only if there's some noticeable difference. And this is where I think the wind tunnel, well, I had a feeling that would happen. This is where I think the wind tunnel comes in handy, because we can look at, let's see here. We can look at what happens with the air flow around this car, and then try and make a determination as to how it's going to perform on the track. And we make that guess, that hypothesis, and then we can actually test out our observations on the track. So we're going to put this one, some of these cars don't want to stay. I'm hesitant to put anything in there to keep them in place, because that will change the direction of the airflow. So let's see, hopefully this stays in place when I lock this closed. It is pretty tightly sealed chamber. Okay, so there we've got it. We've got the car in there. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got. So this is at 40 miles an hour. Now 53. 53 is where we started to see the separation on the other side of the car. Now on this one, it's still, the airflow, it's still hugging and staying tight to the body, but as we turn this speed up, let's see if we start to see separation. So now we're up to 80 miles an hour. And let's see, now we're up to 107, and we are seeing some turbulence in terms of the airflow in this area of the car. It doesn't seem to be as bad as it was on the other side of the car, on the black side. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the splitter is a little lower, more of a traditional position than when you flip the car over, and then it's sort of raised up pretty high. And then we do have that wing in the back, but let's go ahead and turn the speed up a little bit. So now we're at 121. Let's go up to 134, and there really is, in this sort of driver's area, there's basically like a little hole there because it's how they designed the car. And you can see that is the air is getting down into that area and just creating more turbulence. Let me see if I can raise this up, take a look. So you can see what the opening is for the driver's area, and the air is coming right down into that section, and it is creating all this turbulence. And I think if we do put this car back on the track, then it'll definitely be on this side, because we are seeing turbulence, but it seemed a lot worse on the other side. And I think that may have had to do with the fact that when you flip it over, this splitter is now raised up pretty high, and I think that seemed to change and alter the aerodynamics and the airflow of this car. So that's at 134. We'll crank it all the way up to 160, and we're just not seeing anything to suggest that it's going to get better. So, and as speed increases, drag increases and becomes more of a factor, and especially on our track, because it is a flat drag track, we don't have a situation with a gravity track. The cars come down from the release point and they gain speed, and then eventually they start to lose speed. But with our track, the cars start off as fast as they're going to go, and then friction, gravity, and drag start to do their thing, and the cars start to slow down. So we are always trying to, the ideal car would be one that minimizes drag, and this car is not the car to do that, as we can tell. So that turbulent air is one indication that drag is not being minimized. So if we do race that car again, it will be on that orange side with the wing up. So hey, Rough Shot, how you doing? So if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, you're only seeing video in the center, because just kind of testing things out, trying a stream also on IG Live, and so we had to account for just the vertical format. So if you're on YouTube or Twitch, you're seeing some additional information on the sides. On one side, on the left side of your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, it tells you how to select a car that you may want to see inside the wind tunnel. All you have to do is go to atthetrack.live, select the choose your car option, and then once you find the number of the car that you want to see in the wind tunnel, you can just drop that in, and I will pull the car, and we will throw it in the wind tunnel. So let's see. This is this car here, the Blitz Speeder. This was the fastest car in our fleet. Every Saturday it was winning races and really couldn't be stopped. But then the Gazella came along. So we've already seen what the Gazella, the sort of aerodynamic profile. And if we look at the two cars, you can see some similarities. Really, in the basically the angle of the windshield, how it flows right into the roof line. So I'm going to throw the Blitz Speeder into the wind tunnel, and we'll see what the aerodynamic profile is, and if it is in fact similar to the Gazella, which I presume it will be. And so unlike that last car, I don't expect to see the same kind of separation that we saw where the air is simply flying off the car right after it hits. But if, let's see, let's go back. Yeah, let's go right back to the wind tunnel and check this here. All right, so this is the Blitz Speeder. This was our former fastest in fleet car, and we are going to see. We're going to see how this plays out. All right, so we've got 40. We're up to 53 miles per hour, and let's go 67. So we'll go 80 right now to start. And one of the things that we're noticing, so unlike that last car, you see that the air is sticking. It's hugging the body right to the end, and as it comes up in the back, you see a little bit of turbulence in the back, but for the most part there is not a lot of separation from the body. So I'm going to pull this up to, we're up at 107 miles per hour. And again, you're not really seeing that separation from the body, which is good. Which, if you look at the Gazella, and we know how fast the Gazella is, and we take a look at the Blitz Speeder, which was the previous fastest in fleet car that we had, you can see how similar they are in terms of how the air flows over, under, and around these cars. So I'm going to take it up to 134. And I see, let's see, Rough Shod wants to take a look at car 126 and 104. So I'm going to grab those cars while we check out the airflow over, under, and around the Blitz Speeder. I'll push it up to 147 miles per hour while I grab those other cars. And I think what we're going to see, and what we're beginning to see, is that there is a certain aerodynamic profile that performs well on our track. This is up to 174 miles per hour, 188. Now we're at 228, and there is more turbulence and separation, but it's not as extreme as some of the other cars that we've seen in the wind tunnel. So we're starting to, I think, I think we'll get to a point where we can look at the way the cars perform in the wind tunnel, and then be able to determine whether or not they are going to how they're going to perform on the track. But of course, there are other factors that come into play. The weight of the car. On our car, we definitely have a situation where cars can be too light, and they can also be too heavy. And what we have found is that the sweet spot for the weight of cars seems to be between 32 and 36 grams. And we have, let's see, 104. So is this the one? Okay, so you wanted to take a look at this one. So we have the Arachnarod. I believe that's what this is called. Oh no, this is the Speed Spider. And so it's essentially another fantasy car with a spider type design. And we are going to throw it in and see how these legs and these odd openings. See, that's one of the things with the fantasy cars, is that there's so many random things attached to it that you wouldn't find on an actual car, that it's hard to tell how the air is going to flow over, under, and around the car. But now we don't have to guess, because we have the benefit of the Windsible 1/64 scale wind tunnel. So let me go ahead and drop this one in there, the the Speed Spider. I know there's a car called the Arachnarod, but this apparently is not it. Some other spider themed car. So we've got this one, and I'll just show the it's got the spider. It's got the legs on it. You can see there that there's some openings just around the wheels where the legs come down. In terms of the front, that's what it's looking like. We've got the engine in the back, and that's pretty much it. So let's see how it performs here. See how this air is able to go around it. And also with this wind tunnel, it comes with another attachment. So the one that we're using now has 5 streams of smoke, fog, air flowing out. The other one has a single stream, and with a single stream, it's easier to see from the top down view what's happening with the air. So I may switch that out, but let's see. So right now we're at 53 miles per hour, and there is some turbulence there. And the other thing is that, for most of these cars, I mean real cars with wings, so take an F1 car, they're trying to create downforce, and I don't know how significant that is with the Hot Wheels cars, because obviously you create more downforce, then you're helping the tires stay attached to the road, better for cornering, things like that. But with these plastic tires on a plastic track that we have with Hot Wheels cars, I don't know how much that necessarily comes into play. Now we're up to 80 miles per hour. But what is important is drag. Again, just the faster the cars go, the more drag can impact them. And our track and our launcher is specifically set up to shoot those cars out with force. Virgo Cool, no problem. Hey, better late than never. And this is all just a work in progress, and just trying out different things. So I'm happy that anyone is stopping by, checking things out, and I would be doing this if if no one was watching, if more people were, it doesn't matter. Just having fun with Hot Wheels cars, and now have this new toy to check out the actual aerodynamics of these cars. So let's go up to, we're now up to about 107 miles per hour. And based on the airflow, so now we're at 121. This car, it's hard to say just based on this, because we haven't taken enough, we don't have enough of a sample size in terms of looking at the cars and what's happening. But I think that this car might do well on the track. We might have to bring this one out on Saturday and see how it does, because these fantasy cars are always just a toss up. You never really know. But like most of the cars, we do see the sort of turbulent air as the air flows off the back ends of the car. With some of the cars, like the Gazella, that have the diffusers, the air will pull up and this little swirl will be a little bit higher. It also had the wing, and I think the combination of the wing and the diffuser, we saw that this little bit of turbulence was moved up higher. And we raced this one. I don't remember it. But I'll have to go back and check. I don't know. I don't know how it performed, or I don't remember how it performed. So we're at 121. We'll turn it up to 147. And it's hard to really tell how well the air is flowing the body of the car, because the body is so strained. So I'll move this up and you can kind of see on the top, and you can't really see as well how the air is flowing, not with this particular nozzle. Now if I switched over to the single stream, then you get a better look at how the air is flowing above the car. That top-down view is a lot better. So this is the what was this one again? The Speed Spider. I don't know. I know for a fact there's a car called the Arachnarod, and it's got to be a spider bug design, but I don't remember exactly what it looks like. So let's see. We have that car, which was, let's see, we had 104 and 126. So this was 104. And take a look at 126, which is, I believe, 126. Oh, the Captain Marvel car. Yeah, so Roughshod has already picked his car to race this Saturday, and it is this one. It is this Captain Marvel character car, and we'll take a look at it. We'll take a closer look on Saturday, but that's basically how it goes. If you're watching on Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific on YouTube or Twitch, you can go to the Choose a Car page, which is this page right here, and you can scroll. You select Choose a Car, and you can scroll through all 820 plus cars that are in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet. Once you see the car that you think would be fastest in a race, all you have to do is take that number and you drop it into the chat, and I will pull the car, and it will be magically entered into the Saturday tournament. And we take the cars to the track. It's best 2 out of 3 races, and if your car wins, it moves on. And ultimately, if your car beats all of the other cars that are introduced, then it will get to take on the Gazella for the fastest in fleet title, and it's just that simple. But now, with Wind Tunnel Wednesday, I'm going to be up here, and we'll have an opportunity to take a look at some cars before you make your selection, because there's certain things that you're not going to be able to tell just from the still pictures. So this is just another opportunity to go ahead and find a car that you think could take the title. So let's go back to the wind tunnel and take a look at the Captain Marvel car. So this is a long car. It seems wide and long. It's got just the giant splitter. Oh, the bathroom break. Yeah, I haven't made any other music for when I go to pick cars and find cars that people have picked. So I have this bathroom break music that I play for the students, and apparently it's growing on people. So now with this Captain Marvel car, it's got a giant. See, this is, again, like I said, works in progress. I'm trying to figure out how to let's see how to light this particular wind tunnel. It's got lights inside, but some of the front areas are a little tough to see. But this car has all kinds of things happening. It's got a giant splitter right in the front. It's huge and extends out beyond the edges of the car. I'm going to have to actually take this car and check to make sure that it fits inside the launch chamber. It's very wide. The side skirts, which on a typical car, it prevents the air from flowing back under the bottom of the car and then changing the pressure, the high pressure and the low pressure, and the speed of the air moving above the car or below the car. It's got the wing. It's got the sleek profile. What I am noticing, though, it's got smaller tires at the front that are pretty small. Like the ones at the back seem to be the standard Hot Wheels wheels, and these seem to be smaller than those. But we will take a closer look at that part of it on Saturday. What we've got now is this car, this Captain Marvel car in the wind tunnel. This is Roughshod's pick for this Saturday. So this Saturday, presuming this car will fit on the track, it will be racing. And so right now we're at 80 miles per hour, and you can see that much like the Gazella, much like the Blitz Speeder, the air is sticking right to the body. We don't see a lot of separation. It comes to the back. That giant splitter. We'll do something else. So I'll turn this up so we can just see the airflow. So now we're at 121 miles per hour. And starting to see a little bit of turbulence as the air comes right in this area as it comes off the roof and hits the wing. And let's go ahead and take it up. Now we're at 147 miles per hour. And we're starting to see a little bit more of that turbulence. But the air's not, well, we are seeing a little bit of separation right here at the hood. Let's turn up the speed, because our launcher is a custom launcher that sends the cars out with a lot of force, and it is, well, we're seeing more movement than we saw with the Gazella or the Blitz Speeder, but it's not as bad as some of the other cars, but it's definitely questionable. And then we see the same turbulence in the rear of the car. But what I want to do is, one of the things with this Windsible is that this first stream of air comes out so that it usually hits most Hot Wheels cars right at the top of the hood. But that doesn't help us with the airflow beneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this car up just a little bit. I'm going to put it on this magnet because I'm curious to see if we can get the air to hit that giant splitter. Like, you can see just how big and wide that splitter is in the front, and I'm going to see if we can get the get this air flow to hit that splitter. Now the problem is that with me putting the magnet under the bottom, it's going to disrupt the airflow in some way as the air comes off. But I just want to see what happens at the front of the car when the if we can get the air to hit the splitter. And let's go ahead and see, since this is Roughshod's pick for the race on Saturday, hopefully it's not too wide to fit into the launch chamber. This car is much wider than I thought, but we will definitely find out. And let's see if we can get, is that air? So raising it up, the air is definitely hitting. It's hitting the splitter kind of dead on. And now we're up to 94 miles per hour. And at 94, we can still see there's not as much separation. But let's go ahead and push it up, because our track, the cars on our track move faster than any track I've seen, and I specifically designed the launcher to fire them out with a lot of force, because I want all of those things to I want the students to be able to observe these different physics principles we're talking about in action. And at higher speeds, drag is more significant force. They're able to observe Isaac Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. They're able to observe that more clearly, because if a car gets a bad launch, it will start bouncing back and forth all the way down the track. And here we're up to 121 miles per hour. We're starting to see again that same separation right in this area, but it's not extreme like it was in the cars with the bad aerodynamic profiles. We're up to 147 miles an hour, and now you can really see the air separating from the body right here. And so this, in theory, it's I get these confused, which I need to go back and look up. Now that we have this wind tunnel, there's the Venturi effect and the Bernoulli's principle. So ultimately, the air, what you want is for it to just stay connected to the body all the way until it leaves the back end. And we're just seeing this separation and this turbulence, but not as much as with some of the other cars. We're going to go up to 161 miles an hour, and we are seeing the air hit that splitter and go beneath the car. Now it's flowing out here. You see here it comes out around the wheel, but that's also, it probably has to do, I mean, I know it has to do with that magnet that I put there, because the air is now hitting that, and it has to flow around that magnet, and it's just coming out on these sides. So this is, and then the back end, more separation. So this is the Captain Marvel car that Roughshod has picked, and it will be racing on Saturday against other cars that viewers pick and other cars that I am introducing into the fleet. So we will find out how it does. And like I said, there are other factors that come into play. The weight of this car, with this being a character car, it has a, they use more metal than they do on some of the basic mainline cars. So this car is, I'm certain, just pulling it out, I can tell that it's heavier than a lot of the other cars that we've looked at. So this will be, if you want to see how this Captain Marvel car performs, all you have to do is come back to At the Track Live on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, and if you want to select a car to race, all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live. You will be taken to a page that gives you three options: the YouTube stream link, the Twitch stream link, and then you will have an option that says choose a car. If you select choose a car, then you have 822 cars to choose from. They are listed, they are cataloged, they are ready for you to pick. All you have to do is find the one that you want and take the number of that car, drop it into the chat, and I will pull the car, we'll take it to the track, and we'll see if ultimately you can pick a car that's fast enough to beat the Gazella. That would be no small feat. If you could pick a car that's faster than the Gazella, you would be an At the Track Live legend, because at this point, I don't see a car beating the Gazella, but odds are there is a car in here that is fast enough. We just haven't found it yet. So every Saturday at 11 a.m. At the Track Live is where we race cars and where you can participate, pick a car to race. So our last car today is that we're going to put into the wind tunnel is going to be this one, this Volkswagen ID Buzz, and it is it is Volkswagen's updated version of the old school VW bus. And I saw this at the Peterson Automotive Museum here in LA. I want to say maybe 2 years ago. They had a model of it on display, and I just like the look of it. And I think with the old school VW bus and with this one, it's definitely not about aerodynamics and performance, because the old one was slow, and the motto was sort of, well, you'll get there eventually. And with this one, it is heavy, and the battery's not as big as, I suppose it's as big as they could make it, but it's not big enough to really give this a lot of range. So the appeal is just sort of the look and feel of it. And I was interested in it until I saw that it starts at about $70,000. So I'm out, and this is probably the closest that I'm going to get to an ID Buzz anytime soon. And so I was looking at some videos about it and some reviews and people talking about it, and I figured, you know what? Let's go ahead and throw it in the wind tunnel and see how it performs. And I don't expect much of it, but it's going in anyway. So the ID Buzz, starting at $70,000, or starting at $1.25 if you just pick up the Hot Wheels version. And that is what I did. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing and see. I think at some point because I have a whole lot of trucks that unfortunately are too wide to fit into the launcher, so I can't race those. But then there's a whole other group of cars that can fit into the launcher, but just have these bad aerodynamic profiles, so I know they're not going to be fast. So maybe I should set up a series of races with just those cars that don't have a chance to be great, but we still want to see what they can do on the track anyway. So here's the ID Buzz, and right now we're at 80 miles per hour, and the first thing that's, pretty obvious is that there's so much surface area in the front of the car that the air is going to hit that, and the car has to push through that air, and drag is going to just eat this car alive in a race on our track, and there's no way around that. So it's I still like the car, the Hot Wheels version, the real version, but there is no way that this car does anything of note on our track, because it's just not set up. And so now we're up to 107 miles per hour, and you can see that nothing really changes. The air still slams up against the front surface area of the car and pushes over the top. And when it comes back in the back end, there's still some turbulence. We're not seeing a lot of separation in terms of the air leaving the body. We're up to 121 miles per hour, 134, 147. And so even though we're not seeing a lot of separation of the air from the body, the fact that the air first slams into this huge front area is what's going to really make the difference in terms of this car slowing down. So we'll go up, we'll take it up to 174 miles per hour. And starting to see some separation, but again, that's not the issue. You can even see right here the air hitting the front, and some of it's going down below, and then some of it's coming up over the top, but the vast majority of it is just slamming right into that front area. So the ID Buzz is it's a car I like, but it's not a car that has any hope of performing well on the track. So that is the ID Buzz. Yeah, I think as we start to put more cars through the wind tunnel and start to observe how the air is flowing over, under, and around the cars, then taking those cars on Saturday, putting them on the track, and seeing how they perform. It's the same thing that I try to instill with the students. It's that we're making observations so that we can make predictions. And ultimately, if we observe enough, if we take close enough notes and pay close enough attention, we should be able to get to a point where we can take all those things we've observed and use it to better predict which cars are going to perform well on the track. And I know that this ID Buzz is not one that's going to perform well on the track. Are these windows open? Oh no, I thought the windows were open. That would have been even worse, creating a pocket for the air to just slow this car down. So we have our fastest in fleet car, the Gazella R, and just one last time I'll just show the difference between our fastest car and some of these other cars in terms of how the air flows over, under, and around the car. And you'll be able to see as we move up. So now we're at 53 miles per hour, and now we're at 94 miles an hour, and you just see that air flowing right up over along the body lines of the car and into the wing, and then off the bottom, and the air is coming up from the diffuser, and you see this little swirl here. And the cars that can minimize the impact of drag and the weight, if they're in that sweet spot, they're going to do well. We're up to 121 miles per hour, and so you're seeing some separation toward the back. And as I crank it up, Now we're at 161 miles per hour. I'm still seeing some flow. I don't know that I put the car in there, that I lined it up exactly properly. It's off center a little bit. But again, you can just see the difference, and the Gazella has proven itself on the track over and over again. And if you want to see it perform, if you want to see it race, if you think that you can pick a car that can take it out, then you are welcome to join us Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific at the track live, and we will be racing Hot Wheels cars, and you can participate. Just go to atthetrack.live, select the choose a car option, scroll through, find the car that you want to race, and on Saturday, take the number of that car. You'll drop it in the chat. I'll pull the car, and we will see if you're right. Do you have the magic eye to be able to find the car that can take out the Gazella? If you do, you will disrupt plans that we have for March 29th, which is when the Gazella will reach the 17-week mark as champion, and it will take on the Blitz Speeder. Not this Blitz Speeder, the original Blitz Speeder that's in our fleet, because that Blitz Speeder was champion for 17 weeks until the Gazella beat it. And once the Gazella beat it, the Gazella has not had much competition. So when on March 29th will be the Gazella's 17th week as champion, and what we're going to do is bring back the Blitz Speeder for a rematch and a showdown. That's the plan. But if between now and then you manage to pick a car that can beat the Gazella, then plans will change, and you will be an at the track live legend for doing that. So just having fun with Hot Wheels cars, some science sprinkled in. If you're a Hot Wheels enthusiast, if you are a collector, hey, if you're a Hot Wheels collector who keeps your cars in the pack mint on card and you don't open them up, this is another good place for you. I'll open up the cars for you, because I want to race the cars. And when I was a kid, I wanted to play with the cars. And now that I'm grown up, I still want to play with the cars. But I'll open the cars, race the cars for you. You can keep yours in perfect mint condition, and I will take the cars to the track. But if you are also interested in learning more about our science program, all about aerodynamics, you can find out more information at our website, aerodynamics.com. And you can find out how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. And there is an online version of the program. So if you happen not to be in the Southern California area, then your students can still have the opportunity to have a different version of all about aerodynamics. So we have fun with Hot Wheels cars. We learn science. What could be better? Again, this is Wind Tunnel Wednesday, and this is an experiment. I'm going to have to go back and look at the video and see how this worked out. The video is in the middle channel because I broadcast it to YouTube and to IG Live, and IG Live requires just the center section be active. So I'm going to tweak some things, but basically this is what we're going to do on Wednesday. Bring up cars, throw them in the wind tunnel, observe, make some observations, and then see if those observations translate into whatever it is that we expect to happen on Saturdays at the track live. So thank you for watching, and come back Saturday. And until then, I am Coach James for All About Aerodynamics, for At the Track Live, and now for Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. I will see you at the races.